All right, guys, welcome back to the Lake Norman Business Podcast. This is season 2. My name is Danny Decker, and I'm here with Richie Peplin as always. And today, our guests, we're really excited. We have Rachel Monrad from the RNS Realty Group. Before we dive into that conversation, I want to just take a moment to thank our sponsors. So, sponsors today are the XL Marketplace Breakfast, presented by New Song Church. So XL is a quarterly marketplace breakfast and a gathering for entrepreneurs, business leaders, and those looking to grow in leadership. You can learn more about XL, including the date of the next breakfast, by visiting newsongchurch.org. And we are also sponsored today by Chapter 1 Films. So Chapter 1 Films provides high-quality video marketing services for business owners in the Charlotte, Lake Norman area. Their goal is to help businesses grow and tell their story more effectively using video. So visit chapter1films.biz to request your free consultation. I can tell you firsthand, Chapter 1 Films does awesome work. They're able to make us look good here, and if they can make us look good, they can make anybody look good. So you guys should check them out. Thanks to our sponsors. And Rachel, thanks for being here. We're really excited to have you, and tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm a real estate agent in the area. I own a team, I guess, with my business partner, Sarah Romsberg. We started about 5 years ago. And we joined Keller Williams at the same time, and we met in some of the classes that they had at startup, and we became really good friends and decided to market together, and that blossomed RNS Realty Group. And so now we are a partnership together, and we're rocking the Lake Norman area.
Very cool. Awesome. You said you started that 5 years ago?
Yep. Yeah, 5 years ago. I got into the real estate market like 11 years ago, got out for a little bit, and then went back in 5 years ago.
11 years ago would have been a slightly rough time to get into it?
Yes,
yeah.
It was. I hit it the 6 months before the crash, and then I tried for about a year and a half to hang tight. Didn't work. Got out for a little while. So
probably a smart move.
Yeah.
What led you to real estate in the first place?
So back when I first moved to the Lake Norman area, I had worked at a coffee shop, and a guy that came in and got his coffees from me every day approached me about being on his team. I was 19 at the time, and I was like, "What? I'm in college. I can't be doing that." And he basically convinced me to start working through the real estate process. I started as his administrative assistant, and then I went and got my license at 19. Got my license by the time I was 20, did it for 2 years, and then, like I said, got out for a little while.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So you guys are in the Lake Norman area. That's
Yep.
your target.
Mm-hmm.
And is there any specific niche? Is it all residential? Do you do some commercial? Or?
We do not do any commercial. I guess our niche is families. We have a lot of young friends buying their first house, second house, and I would say that's kind of where we're at, the move-ups. Not that we don't work with everyone. We have a pool of investors that we've worked with too, but definitely our sphere is friends and family. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So you, and it's a partner, correct?
Yep.
And you started 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how's business? How are you guys doing?
Business is great. We were blessed out the gate. We both have families that support us a lot, so they told their friends and family. And honestly, a lot of how we've grown so quick has been just word of mouth by our friends and family. So we've been lucky, and luckily the market's really healthy right now. So we've had a lot of good growth, and we've had steady year after year. With sales. So yeah. It's been good.
Very cool. Well, you mentioned the market now. I think we have a decent amount of homeowners that listen to our podcast. And so can you tell us a little bit about what's the real estate market
Sure.
right now? And
Yeah. The market right now is a total seller's market. So if you are ever thinking of selling your home, the next year is going to be where it's at. It's going to be where your highest return from when you invested in your home. Your highest return is going to be right now. And then eventually we're going to see the market start to tinker back. So it's kind of like a mountain peak. So right now we're kind of at the peak, and in the next year it's going to start to come down. And so if you're going to sell, you want to sell now so that your property values,
Sure.
It definitely isn't going to come straight down. But
not like a bubble.
Yeah. But it definitely is not going to be as high as it is currently.
So it'll go up, it'll start coming down.
Yeah.
And then it'll start going back up again at some point.
Yeah.
But so if you don't sell your house within, let's say the next year,
yeah.
What point does the market, like the flow, normally start to come back around then?
So they say it's
Right. I know, it's always they say.
About 5 years. So
Okay.
if you don't sell right now, it doesn't mean like, oh no, I've missed it. In 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, it's gonna tinker back up that way, and then you can sell and get the good return as well. And I will say that the last time we had this happen, home values did not go as high as they are currently. So we were at that mountain peak 5 to 6 years ago, and currently our peak is higher than it was 5 or 6 years ago. It's just because of the growth in the Charlotte area. We have a really healthy market here. And it does mean that once the fall kind of happens, we're kind of in a safe space because Charlotte as a whole, business-wise, is growing. And so the bubble that bursts all over America, it will burst here, but it will not hit us like it does in other areas of the country.
See, I was in Miami, in South Florida in 2008 when that bubble burst, and that situation was like the exact opposite of what you just described, because it was not a growing like housing market or anything like that. So the amount of like foreclosures and condos that just sat vacant for like years and years in South Florida was crazy.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that, all those that they built on speculation down there in Florida was really based on tourism.
Yeah.
So once the housing market burst like that, people didn't have the money to go spend on that.
Yep.
And one of the differences with Charlotte area is that, it's growing because of businesses, because of people with jobs. Like this is their primary residences. But yeah, that was rough in Florida.
Yeah. No, so that's good to hear. And you say you feel like maybe in like the next year or so, we're still kind of on the upswing, but maybe in about a year it's going to start to cool off a little bit.
Yeah, currently we're seeing the Feds hike the interest rate, which what that means for people is that we have a healthy economy, which is great. Every time the economy gets better, the Feds will hike that interest rate because they know that us as Americans can take a higher interest rate. So as we financially get better as a country, the interest rates will go up, and as that happens, buyers are gonna slow down, sellers are not gonna get what we're getting, and then it'll become a buyer's market. And that's just the way it happens every 6 years. So.
Just ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Now that seems to kind of fit with what I've always heard, that people stay in a house about 5 to 7 years on average.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I can see that, a bunch of people buy, and then a bunch of people that 5 to 7 years, they get real itchy to buy something else, right? And so then you have all of a sudden a bunch of people and just kind of coming and going. And
yeah, it's also, if you're thinking about purchasing a home, you want to purchase a home for at least 5 years. And the reason for that is you have to recoup all the things that go with buying a home. So the second you buy your home, you're going to have, loan origination fees and all these things that a lender's going to throw at you. That's going to cost you money to buy a home. It just does. But also you're going to have realtor fees. So, for us to buy and sell your home, it costs money to market your home and to get your home on the MLS and to, hold open houses and market your home. And so the fee around 6%, it's not a definite, but 6% is the norm. You have to add that in as well. So when you go to sell your home, if you do it the next year, you're gonna have to pay the 6% to the realtors on each side, and to recoup that, you're gonna have to be in your home a little bit to get the equity to be able to afford to make that hit. Also, you don't want to sell within the first 2 years because of capital gains taxes, and you can talk to your accountant about that, but you want to make sure that if you're going to sell in less than 2 years that you've talked to somebody professionally about it.
Got it. I had no idea the average person is only in their house 5 to 7 years. I would have guessed higher. That's wild.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, so this season of our podcast here is all about marketing, and I'm really excited to have you on because I feel like some of the best marketers that I know are real estate agents. I feel like that industry is a lot about marketing.
Yeah.
And so can you just kind of tell us a little bit about sort of what you do from a marketing? Yeah, let's start there. What do you do from a marketing standpoint?
So Sarah and I are really heavy into sphere of influence. So we learned early on that we were not going to be the real estate agents that are going to cold call you or going to knock on your door every now and then. Like, that's just not how we're going to market our business. I will say that a lot of agents go that route, but for Sarah and I, we wanted it to be more personal. So we heavily base our marketing on our friends and family, client appreciation, We do a newsletter once a month that highlights all of the listings that we have going on, market statistics. We have a recipe. We have all kinds of fun Pinteresty things on there.
Is that an email newsletter?
It is not. We actually do print newsletter.
I love that.
Yeah.
For the record, side note, I love that. I feel like nobody does print newsletters anymore, so that's awesome.
People actually open them.
Right.
Yeah, we've had really good return on them. People like email us or text us and be like, "Oh, we got your newsletter. We love XYZ," and we also send out birthday cards and personal notes to people, like written from us, because we feel like it's a personal touch. One thing they teach us in real estate is that you want to touch people all year long so that they know you're there. You know, like I don't need to be like, "Hey, can I sell you a house? Can I sell you a house?" But I need to just let them know that I'm there. If you need me, I'm here. Happy birthday, happy Father's Day, you know, happy anniversary. We're letting them know that we're around. And then twice a year, we host an Easter event and then a fall festival. And those are client appreciation events that Sarah and I throw. We pay for everything. We have food, popcorn, cotton candy, piñatas. We have an Easter bunny at the Easter one come. We do a Easter egg hunt. And we do all that just so that our clients, our friends and family are, you know, we show them how grateful we are for their business and how they, you know, keep us, you know, going in their minds. So
I love that. I feel like, at least in my world, the concept we call that is, you know, top of mind awareness. And like, it's because I've done a lot of marketing for lawyers. My business, Spotlight Branding, we do a lot of marketing for lawyers. And it's a similar thing where when somebody wants to hire a lawyer, like most of their life, they don't need a lawyer. But then something happens, you know, whether it could be a good thing, a bad thing, whatever, and they need a lawyer and they need him quickly. And so it's like, so who's the first lawyer that person thinks of? And the lawyer that's going to get the business is the one that did the best job with that top of mind awareness. So I just really like that. I feel like a lot of lawyers and really almost honestly most businesses out there would benefit from taking the approach that you guys take in the real estate world of really just staying in touch with people, adding value to their lives, holding appreciation events. Like that's just really cool.
And if you think about if a person really does on average move every 5 to 7 years, let's say it's 5, I mean, and you're in the business for 25 years, you could feasibly buy and sell houses for them 5 times.
Yeah.
For that one person.
To put it in perspective, Sarah and I now have been in the business 5 years, and we have definitely seen it in the last 2 years, people calling us and like, we need to sell. We definitely have had the return client, and sometimes it's sad. Like sometimes we're like, oh no, don't. We had a couple earlier this year, our friends Lorraine and Mason, and they were clients of ours. We bought them their first house together, and then 2 years later they called us and we're like, we're moving back to Michigan, and we're like, no, and it was, you know, a hard, you know, it was hard to have to, you know, but we were able to make them a lot of money on their home, and they walked away happy. So it was a good situation.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what is it like? Because real estate is competitive, right? And
Yeah.
It's competitive in most places, and I know it's competitive here in Lake Norman. What is it like, especially early on, kind of making a name for yourself in a world where there's already a lot of real estate agents? So how did you guys navigate that and become as successful as you guys are?
So my number one tip to people who want to get into the real estate market is you have to prepare to not make money for 6 months. Like you're hemorrhaging money to get your business going, and you're not making any money in the beginning. It just isn't happening. If you think about it, like if you were to buy a home, you use a real estate agent and buy a home, that's going to take 3 months. By the time you like look at some homes, find the right one, and then close on the home and move. By the time you get that check, it's been 3 months. So if you're new into the business, even if your best friend is like, okay, let's buy a house, you're still 3 months out from your first check. In that time, you're about to spend a lot of money getting yourself, you know, situated in the real estate business. So my suggestion is to like be prepared going in when you're a real estate agent. Like if this is what you want to do, know that it's going to be a little while before you make some money, and be prepared to get through the hump. When Sarah and I started at our real estate class, there was 25 people in our class that we started in Keller Williams. It's all the newbies. Out of that 25 people, there's 4 people still in the real estate business. Wow. So and all those people left after the first year. Like they did not make it to year 1, their anniversary. So you have to know going in that it's tough.
So why did you guys make it?
I think because we have each other. I know it's sappy, but Sarah and I are a team. When, you know, I need time off, she's there. We have each other's back. I think that helps her and I personally, but I think on average, if you're dedicated and you work hard and you put clients first and you're honest, like the good things will come to you, and you just have to really, really want it and work hard for it.
Very cool.
Makes a lot of sense. The team thing, I feel that a lot. In my business, I have a business partner, and now we have a team. But it makes me drive harder because there's other people on the line.
Yeah.
So it's other than just yourself.
Yeah.
So like when you don't feel like working that day, you do, because it's not just you,
Yeah.
right? It's other people that depend on you.
Sure.
So I definitely get the team dynamic.
Yeah, and it's not to say that a solo agent can't make it work and make it work well. You just need to make sure that you're surrounding yourselves with mentors or somebody that can hold you accountable. There's coaches that you can hire, whether it's a real estate coach or life coach. Like I'm a big component of having somebody that lifts you up. For me, it's Sarah. Like Sarah and I, we've tried coaches, and for her and I, we can do it for each other. We know each other so well that we balance each other, and we can make sure that we're coming into work every day, we're showing up, we're calling those clients back. But if you don't have a partnership and you are solo in a business, then just make sure that there's somebody, even if it's anybody, you call your best friend and like, hold me accountable. I think having somebody to hold you accountable is really important.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to jump back to something you said, because I feel like it's such a big lesson that I wish more business owners took seriously, which is the whole concept of a mail, physical mailing, your newsletter, and I think you said some postcards and stuff. All people want to talk about these days is digital, and I get it. Both Richie and I do digital marketing, so I get it. But there's just something to be said for sending somebody a newsletter or an advertisement or whatever that they can open, hold in their hands, put on the coffee table, pick it up a couple days later. And I mean, email open rates are just every year they inch lower. People more and more are not opening their emails. There's spam everywhere. And so talk a little bit more about your newsletter and why you guys started that, and kind of the results you're seeing from that.
So we started that before Sarah and I were ever a team, and we were both just sitting next to each other at Keller Williams. We were doing these newsletters next to each other. She'd do them to her friends, I'd do them to my friends, and hers would be marketed to her, mine would be marketed to me. And we did them because we wanted to reach our family and friends, and we knew that they'd appreciate a letter from us. We knew that they would open it, see what we were doing, they knew the business was new to us and that they could, follow us. And then eventually Sarah and I teamed up and created one. But we've always felt like it's been an imperative part of our business. We have always gotten really good return, of people like I said, texting and calling and letting us know that it's appreciated and they really look forward to them. It also gives us a way, if we're already mailing the newsletter, this month we give out Panther schedules, and so we can put it in the newsletter and mail it to them, and then they open it up, and not only do they get our newsletter, they get a Panther schedule. So it's kind of an easy way.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then next month they'll get an invitation to our harvest party in October.
That's so good.
So it's just, at Christmas time we put in our Christmas card. We just add a little something in there.
I love that.
Yeah.
I consult with business owners from time to time, and we talk marketing. And one of the things I always say is try to make your newsletter so valuable, something that people actually look forward to, that they would pay you for it. Create so much value in this free newsletter that people legitimately look forward to it, because that's a guarantee that they're going to open it up and find their Panther schedule or their invite to the the party of the fall, or
Right.
that's really cool.
And we also have recipes, and I know that sounds silly, but a lot of our friends are, moms out there, and we get calls all the time, we're cutting this out, this was such a great recipe, sometimes it'll be, good appetizer for the Panthers game, or, in the fall we'll do a really yummy soup. But we have a lot of people that really like our recipes, and we do try them ourselves. It's stuff that we've actually tried. So
Tried and true.
Tried and true, yeah. So
When you put different things in your newsletter like that,
Yeah.
you're actually there's a consistency with your newsletter, but then you're surprising them with a variable reward. And there's actually it's a concept about how you get kind of hooked onto things and you come to expect it and get really excited. It's one of the things that it's one of the reasons why you have the infinite scroll and whatnot for Instagram and Facebook.
Oh yeah.
People, they'll just sit there and keep scrolling and you open it because you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
But you're actually using that in your newsletter, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because people, they get it, and it's like, okay, I know there's a newsletter, so I know there's a consistency to what's in there.
Yeah.
What else is in there? I'm so excited. I have to find out. It's
We
pretty cool.
also we keep we make sure we keep like in the fall all of the stuff going on in the area. So like in September we'll have all the apple orchards that have pick your own apples, and we'll make sure like or the pumpkin patches, and we'll make sure all that's in there so that they know, oh yeah, Rachel will send that. I don't need to worry about that. So I try to just keep it on the top of people's mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so Rachel, as we kind of wind down here, I want to put you on the spot, and I want to tell you, so our audience is business owners out there, and if you had sort of one piece of marketing advice that you've sort of learned over the last 5 years, something that's worked really well for you, maybe for somebody who's a little like less experienced at marketing, maybe they're just starting their business or they just haven't done a lot of marketing, what would be like the first piece of like marketing advice that you would share with somebody like that?
I would say the best thing to do would be to, depending on your business, but do some type of a newsletter or something that they'll know that you're, around. I would say if you're new to the business and you have just started something, like let's say you're starting an accessories line, you could get all your friends and family's contact information and write a letter that just kind of says, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'd love for you to support me, and actually write the letter and mail it. When I first got in the business 5 years ago, I did that, and I got 150 people in my address book, and I wrote letters to them just saying like, I want you to stand behind me. I want, my business to succeed. Will you help me, with doing that? And I put my business card in there, and I really feel like my friends and family support my business and want me to succeed, and they're behind me. So I'd say like just making sure you have that, making sure people are behind you, and that will help you stay accountable too. And I would say the biggest thing to not do in the market, waste money on things that people are telling you have to have. Like there's a lot of money wasters out there that they'll say you need to be doing this with your business, or you need this new program, or you need this fancy thing. You don't. You just don't need all those things. And you can get wrapped up kind of in that. The first time I was in real estate, I felt like I got really wrapped up with what I needed. And I think I overcompensated because I was so young. I even bought myself like a ring so that people would think I was older. Like, I'm not really married, but, just because I wanted people to think. But I think just to keep your eye on the prize and not waste, money on all the different things that people will throw you at. Yeah.
That's great advice. So, Rachel, how can people learn more about you?
So you can visit www.arnestrealtygroup.com or find us on Facebook. We're on there. We'd love to help anybody in the area, anybody who needs real estate needs, even if you just have a question. If you want to know how much your home's worth, we offer free market analysis. We'll come to your home. We'll tell you what your home's worth. But it's an awesome market out there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this was great. Rachel, really appreciate your time and coming on here, and thanks a lot.
Thanks.